afternoon. This is a meeting of the Neom Human Rights Commission. Today is Monday, September 22nd, 2014. And I call this meeting to order. First of all, we have to approve the agenda for today. And is there something that anybody would like to add to the agenda? On the item number 7, the Legal Minnesota Human Rights Commission's report, I got an email from Beth Burrows. She said she didn't have anything to report, and so we can take that off the agenda. So do I have a motion to approve today's agenda? Commissioner Wellman?
I move to approve the agenda for today,
This is
leaving out number 7.
7. Does anybody want to
I
second
second.
that? Everybody in favor? Say
Aye.
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 It's approved. Did everybody get a chance to approve the minutes for June 23rd meeting?
It was a long time ago.
Yeah, I know.
The one thing that I would change is that I was here.
You were there. I was going to say that. I'm pretty sure you were here. So we will put that, we'll change that. Commissioner Wendy Ringhofer was here.
We
So,
can talk more, I guess.
very good. So, is there a motion to approve June 23rd? Oh, has everybody finished reading it? Do I have a motion to approve the June 23rd agenda?
I make a motion.
Second.
Okay, everybody in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it passes, okay. Every December, there is a symposium symposium from the Minnesota Department of Human Rights. It usually takes place around the beginning of December. Lisa Pelzer upstairs sent me a notice, and I forgot to bring it. I was gonna print it and bring it. But I will make sure that everybody gets it. And if anybody wants to attend, it would be nice. I'm thinking I probably will be attending, and we can carpool too. So I will send you the date, and if anybody's interested in coming, that would be great. It's usually very interesting. And now I have an update on the joint program with the League of Women Voters. We are going to go ahead with it. I couldn't find anybody that would talk about the legislative process from the point of view of a global or historical point of view. A couple of people that I had lined up said they could not do it. I couldn't find anybody that would be interested in talking about that topic from the Minnesota Department of Human Rights. So what I would like to ask, if any of the commissioners in here would be willing to do like a 5-6 minute presentation at the beginning of the forum, tying human rights to the election process and to the Article 21 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the right to participate in government and in free elections. Would somebody willing or available to do that on Tuesday, October 2014? Nobody?
What time do they meet?
The date that we came up with is Tuesday, October 14, at the library basement meeting room at 4 p.m. I know it is early, but that's what the league wanted, and I just went along with it.
Well, I think what we're all saying to ourselves is, what would you say? Would you like to talk about it from a historical point of view?
I think it would be good to compare the democratic process in the United States right now with the rest of the world, and then how human rights tie with the electoral process, and how that Article 21 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, actually, the fact that it comes 2021 relates to the fact that even the founders, the founding fathers of the United States, had reservations about a complete democracy. And I didn't know, but this country really is not a democracy, it's a republic, because it's just a few representatives who represent part of the public. So that kind of stuff. And how some of the things that are happening now with money, I think we talked about how money, the media, poverty, the psychology of decision-making is affecting actually their right of people to elect their representatives. So and it doesn't have to be very big. I mean, I can do it. I wanted to not do it because I'm going to be taping it. I guess I can do all things, but it would be nice if somebody who knows maybe a little bit more than I do would be willing to tie all of that.
Yes, I could do it, but I have to warn you, I would editorialize like crazy.
Yeah, and that we can't, because we remember we're very nonpartisan, and especially the League of Women Voters. The other two speakers are from I'll tell you who the other speakers is. So
So how about
like I
this nice lady we've been meeting with? Can she do it without
Ruth Ann,
editorializing?
I think she's going to do the little bit of introduction for the league. So we need somebody to do an introduction for the Human Rights Commission.
I don't understand it enough to give
So
a
the-
speech.
I understand it very well. I understand it so well that I would go blah, 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 and offend everybody there.
There. Well, I kind of understand it too. I mean, I'd be glad. I mean, I have a very clear understanding how that relates, the human rights to the electoral process and back to other things with the Universal Declaration of Human Rights.
The most terrible thing about violating human rights is that people don't claim their rights. They don't claim the right to be well informed.
Well, and that's what we're going to talk about, the forum. Basically, so before we make a decision about who can introduce something from the Human Rights Commission, basically what we're going to do is a forum. There will be two speakers. Ruth Ann Webster will make an introduction from the League of Women Voters side. There'll be two speakers right now. There might be more. We're trying to get an election judge to come, but that's still on the air. Sarah Reiser is, again, she comes from the League of Women Voters, and she has talked about voting rights. Right now, she is involved with the restoration on voting rights for felons living in the community. And that's connected with the voter ID issue, and a connection that advocates used in a deceptive way. They asserted the voter ID will reduce voter fraud, when in fact, that kind of stuff. She's going to talk about that. The other person is Kathy Tomsek. She is also part of League of Women Voters Democracy Reform Committee, and she's in the action committee for the League of Women Voters, and she will talk about voter registration, voter education, a little bit on how photo ID creates barriers, and from then on, we'll just open the forum to talk about other things, like the media. They all will talk about, and that's the other thing, I need maybe some of you in the forum as not as speakers, but just part of the forum. So, any takers?
The 4 o'clock time kills me. I just can't be back in town at 4
okay.
o'clock. So.
Okay. Well, so it's you or I.
Oh, well. Actually, I wish you would do it. It's tempting because
Yeah.
I mean, I can talk about the history
Mhm.
of voting
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
the history of grandfathering,
Mm.
Jim Crow laws,
Mhm. Mhm.
how they tried to cheat people
Mhm.
of their right to vote, how for centuries, no, maybe not centuries, a long time though, only half the adults in the United States could vote.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And maybe less than half because a goodly share of them were slaves.
Mhm.
For a while, there were people who attempted to make laws that said you had to own land in order to vote.
Let's not forget women also did not have a vote.
That's what I meant. Half the people, half the adults in the United States couldn't vote.
Yeah.
They were ineligible.
Yeah. So,
So this has been a kind of an evolutionary
Mhm.
process.
mhm.
Now,
Yeah.
to me, the most important thing to do now, if you are interested in promoting voting,
Mhm.
is
Mhm.
promote education.
Yeah, and which is part of the human rights. And that's part of, why it's in some ways the first 20 articles of the Declaration of Human Rights, are more to the point of, you need all of these for people to be able to vote freely.
Yes. So I often go to the cabaret, and when Congressman Waltz is there. And we have a really nice crowd of at least 30 or 40 people.
Mm-hmm.
We shouldn't be able to do it at the cabaret. We should have to do it at the Civic Center because everybody's there wanting to hear what he has to say. And then,
Yep.
if he has an opponent, he should have to go to the Civic Center.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we should have to have it because everybody wants to hear what he has to say. And that's not what's happening because people don't give a hoot.
And that's pretty much, I think, with the forum, we're going to talk about how far we've gotten away from the town hall meetings, where you actually discuss the issues. We don't discuss issues anymore. So that'll be part of the forum. So if and you might be good at being in the panel in the forum.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many we have, but I would really like to have at least one of the commissioners in the panel. So, you want me to do the introduction? It's only going to be 5-6 minutes introduction from the Human Rights Commission. Shall we
Okay.
put it to a vote? Yeah?
Do we have to put it for a vote?
I don't know.
I don't know.
No. Okay, let's just put it a vote so that we get this. Would anybody like to make a motion that the chair makes an introduction remark from the NEOM Human Rights Commission?
I so move.
Okay, anybody wants a second?
A second.
Second.
Okay, everybody in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And the second thing, do I have any volunteers to be in the panel?
Oh, all right. I'll
Yeah.
go.
Okay. Yeah, good. Nobody else, Tom? No. No. Okay. All right. Well, at least we'll have one. So that's good. Let me see what else do I have to tell you guys about the Tuesday, October 14, at the library meeting room, 4 p.m. We will talk about anything to do with voting and how free elections, democratic process, and how money, media, poverty, and the psychology of decision making is affecting voting and how that affects the right of voting. Okay. Any other questions you have? Any other questions? So far, we don't need any funds for honorariums. The only thing that I'm might do with the League of Women Voters is maybe a couple of $100 for advertising, but even that we might not need. And last time I think we agreed that up to $400. Is that my recollection? That not in the New York, there's $300 or $400 in the budget. So, yes. Any objections to that? Any objections?
I don't object,
Is
but
it-
I mean, I don't think we need.
I don't think we're gonna
that.
need it. We'll see. We'll see. The only thing I'm worried is because that the League of Women Voters are having a voting forum for the candidates. So I don't know how much people are gonna go to that, and they're not gonna come with this, but it should be interested anyway. And I think NewCat is interested in having programs of this kind, like, town hall discussions kind of. Okay? Any other questions about the forum? Okay, so we're all set in that. Like I said, Beth couldn't make it today. She did, however, send me the rules and the theme for this year essay contest from the League of Minnesota Human Rights Commission. Wendy, I don't know if you know about this. Every year, the League of Minnesota Human Rights Commissions sponsors an annual essay contest or some human rights theme. For the last three or 4 years, it's been only an essay, but before they would also sponsor a poster contest. The poster contest was for pretty much everybody from kindergarten to high school. The essay contest is only for middle schoolers. I think it's 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. We at the New York Human Rights Commission, we have been doing the posters for the last 3 or 4 years too. Sometimes we go along with the theme that the league gives us. Sometimes we choose our own theme. I think we have chosen themes that are more relevant to the community. And I'm so glad to report that when some of the kids that were attending the summer reading program at the library saw the posters that I had put on bullying. See, last year we didn't get too many posters because of the weather, and it was the whole theme. It was hard for the kids to wrap their heads around the stereotypes, which was the theme. Anyway, and so I put some from previous years for bullying, and some of the kids wanted to ask the librarian, the children's librarian, if they could do their own posters and put them up. So she asked me, can we put our posters in there? So sure, the more the merrier. So it was nice. Some of the kids, it tells us that they look at those things and they think about those things. So they added some posters and bullying, which was really cool. So let me tell you what the essay topic for the league this year is. Jokes or comments are commonly made, both accidentally and intentionally, at the expense of certain groups of people. Some individuals and organized groups actively work to stop hurtful speech. Provide at least 2 specific examples of how language results in the violation of or protection of human rights. Be sure to identify the message, who is it from, who it affects, and how it affects them. Reference the U.S. Constitution, the UN Declaration of Human Rights, or the U.S. Bill of Rights in your answer. So, what do you guys think about that as an essay topic? Is it relevant to the community? You do think the 6th, 7th, and 8th graders can,
Isn't that in
Makes
depth
sense.
a little bit for,
Hmm?
isn't that a little bit in depth for kids to,
Could be.
I think 6th, 7th, and 8th grade it can handle. Like when you think
Yeah.
elementary school, certainly not, but 6th, 7th, and 8th, I think that's
Which
fair.
then, I agree with you. Which then brings us to the question is, most of the time, the essay topic has been the same topic for the posters. How do we put that in a poster format. And if we do, because I started thinking, how do we do that? It's very similar to the bullying thing. It would be almost like the same thing as the bullying, which was really good. That was one of the, I think, the most effective educational programs that we've had for this committee.
Well, maybe just
This commission.
narrowing it a little bit. When you're talking bullying, there's so many different forms of bullying. But this would be basically don't make fun of people because they're different, is what it would come down to.
Yeah.
And then maybe putting it more
Mhm.
kid-friendly or elementary language as opposed to the scary
For,
stuff.
to explain to the
Right.
kids what they're going to draw, what
Right.
their artwork. That is a possibility. The other possibility, the other choice we have, again, is to choose our own theme. I think thus, I've already talked about how I would like to stay with the theme of violence against women and what causes that. And I think it's lack of self-esteem, lack of choices, lack of education on the women's part. So my idea, my preference would be to have something to install that self-confidence, that idea that women are strong, that they don't have to put that with that. I don't know how we could do that in an essay or in a poster, but I thought, how about asking the kids to write an essay or to draw a picture or illustrate a woman they admire. It could be their mother, it could be their teacher, it could be their grandma, somebody that they think it's what a woman should be, or something like that, whatever. Or so a pioneer, woman who's pioneer. That would be my idea. I think Beth Burris also suggested something about discrimination. Again, I like it to be something more relevant to the community and something that kids can understand easily. So, any other ideas, or do you? I'd like to know if, who the commissioners which would they prefer?
By when is this due, or when does it start?
Well, that's the other thing. Last year, we started in the spring or at the beginning of the year because that's when everybody was doing it anyway. They never started. The deadlines are in April or May, I think. Somewhere in April, May. Nobody started before Christmas. I think we tried to say, well, you can do it during Christmas, and they didn't do it. Everybody did it at the last minute. Now, the other thing is that a lot of the posters that were submitted was because some of the teachers that I know, or the teachers in this commission, made it as theme of one of their classes. And I'm going to really try to talk to the same teachers, Beth Sletta, to do that again. They were willing to do it last year, but then we had so many snow days that they started falling way behind in their curriculum. So we didn't get too many. But, and even the same thing might happen again this year. We could also decide, well, maybe we should start early again, just to make sure. I don't know if it will make any difference, just to make sure that kids, get the.
My perspective is if you start too early, it gets lost and people forget about it. And I think the shorter the time, the better. I think if it's due at the end of the month, don't give it till the beginning of that month. If
I
you
agree.
give them a full school year, it's going to get lost and you won't get any in.
I agree, and I think that was the basis for the decision of having it like at the beginning of the year. And even then, I think people didn't start thinking about it February or March.
But if it's not due,
than
did you
before.
say it's due in April?
Yes,
Or-
yeah. I have to see their entry deadline for submission. If once we pick a winner, we send it to the League of Minnesota Human Rights Commissions. After that, we couldn't anymore because their deadline was February 28. But we had a later deadline. And that worked fine. That worked well. So I think the deadline was May, or I wanted it before the summer reading program because that's when we would display the posters. So I think it was sometime at the middle of April last year. Yeah, remember? I think it was somewhere in the middle of April last year.
Well, if it's the middle of April, then introduce it to the schools or present it in the middle of March. And
Mhm.
just speaking
Yeah.
from, I know how my classroom goes, and if you have more time, it just gets lost.
I think that worked very well when we had all the submissions when we had the anti-bullying program.
Could any of these be sent into the state if,
Yeah.
or we'd be too late?
Yeah.
or-
No. Well, it was too late after. Whoever wanted to enter, they had to give it to us before February 28. And that's, one of the essays that we sent got third place in the,
Yeah, that's
statewide. But she had to take it up. She had to bring it to us before February 28. And that was very clear.
Even if we don't go with the theme?
Hmm?
Even if we don't go with
Oh,
their-
no, that's the thing.
No, okay.
It has, that's the other thing.
Okay.
If we want to submit it to the league, we have to go with the theme. And last year, we went to the theme about stereotypes, which was hard for the kids to understand, the whole concept. Bullying was very easy for them to understand.
Can I ask-
Stereotypes, they had a little bit of.
Well, do we give anything to the schools as far as how to present this to the kids, or just a quick little cheat sheet of, in kid language, or do we just say, do posters on stereotypes?
We had a whole explanation.
Okay.
And the explanation, talked about, I can't remember, but no, it was as much as detailed as we could possibly do. Maybe we should have explained more what a stereotype meant.
Mhm.
And some of the submissions from the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, some of them didn't even understand. Some of them, I remember, they didn't even understand what a stereotype was. But
So maybe
that's
that's a
something.
piece of the education and not just getting the response back, but educating in the process.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And of
So-
course, that's up to the teachers, which is why I prefer something that either we can explain, that the commission can explain, or that it's easy we know that they're going to understand, that they are going to understand. Which is why, I lean more toward woman you admire. Well, it could even be a woman from a book that you admire. Somebody you know, somebody you read, somebody from history. That's really easy to understand. But we can go with that too. Does anybody have any?
How would you explain that that's a human rights thing? A woman
what?
I admire.
Oh, that women have advanced human rights.
Women have,
Advanced human rights. I'm thinking from the point of view of violence against women, what makes a woman not put up with that kind of stuff. And I feel that it's women who are strong, who have self-esteem, who have choices. Does that make sense?
But I think another piece of it is how men view women as well.
Yeah.
And I think,
I
so I'm just trying to wrap my head around.
Yeah. You think, and I was thinking, how do you, I think that'd be great for the boys, too.
So it kind of
Talk
goes,
about
it
a
goes
woman
back,
you like.
goes back to stereotypes then, I feel.
It does.
Maybe it.
It does.
So, Alma, I'm not,
Mhm.
I'm not sure I'm completely following your train of thought. You're talking about two different things,
Mhm.
stereotypes and violence against women. Is that right?
Yeah, I don't think
Are
that
those two things completely connected?
I think there is a connection.
Okay.
Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, it's funny. Today I was at the cafe, and somebody was saying that somebody actually made a joke about the stuff that's going with the NFL, the players. There was I didn't see this because I was on vacation. One of the players proposed to his girlfriend, and one of the commentators, as a joke, said, well, now that he proposed to her, he can start beating her up. And it's just that kind of, he actually, that's the kind of stereotype. It's almost like it might be a joke, but it's okay. Now she's my property. Now, I don't know. I've of course, people were outraged about, such a comment. So it is a little bit the stereotype.
Wouldn't
Women
that,
as
what you
property.
had just explained, Alma, that be kind of a perfect example for what the league has for their theme for this year?
But, yeah, you're right.
What I think,
Yeah.
what I think we should do is
Uh-huh.
have everybody receive a copy of that and think about, I mean, right now you just, kind of like, read it and nobody really
Yeah.
has thought about it.
Yeah.
But I think that it's something that we should think
think
about it,
about.
because I don't think we should go into anything without reading that first and then seeing if we can tie anything in with the state and everybody come up with maybe
Mhm.
an idea.
Yeah. And to answer your question, we have lots of time.
Right,
Because
but
if we
I
don't
think-
start
right.
until that's
Yeah.
so that
Right.
and that's where I started saying, yeah, we have lots of time.
Right, but I think that
Mhm.
if you read that, because,
Mhm.
you read it now and it doesn't really sink in, the first time you read it.
Mhm.
And I think if everybody sees it in writing,
Mhm.
sometimes it's easier to.
Ideally, would we want to tie it in with the state? Ideally, find a way to tie it in?
We have the year that we didn't. We haven't tied it with the state for 2 years. One was bullying, and that worked great for us. I mean, yeah, we didn't get a chance. Nobody got a chance to enter the contest, but it really made kids think. I was really pleased with that. The other one, the first one that we did, I can't remember. We got a lot of submissions, and it was about.
On the wall, on the floor here.
Yeah, right, when we had it on the floor. What was that about?
That was the posters.
Yeah, kids. It was about children's rights, and how children they now had labor, they had to work, they didn't have things to eat, and that also resonated with the kids, because we got a lot of posters on that. And that was the theme. That was the theme from the league. But we had another one in between, and I can't remember what it was. I think we'll work. That's great, that connection between, that was a joke. That's a perfect example. I didn't even think about it.
Well, and I guess that's where I was
I
just,
know.
it might be nice to try to, in my
Yeah.
mind, stick with what the league
League. Sounds good.
has
That's
already
great.
as their theme, and that way they have another
Yeah.
opportunity to enter their
Uh-huh.
projects into potentially get another award.
Yeah, right. I just want I just don't want him thinking about too many things, because then it's hard for them to focus on one thing. But yeah, even if we can give them that example, that's the kind of thing we're thinking about.
Yeah, and I
Just
think
stupid
that's along
things.
with what Wendy had said as far
Yeah.
as just educating, maybe sending out ideas to send out to the education staff.
Sounds great. So let's just table it for now. We'll talk about it in the next meeting. I will make sure that you all get the in writing, so you can think about it, the whole thing that I got from the league, and we can think about it. Great. So the next thing in the agenda is that's it. We're done. Oh, yeah, that's right, we missed one. I'm sorry. One of our commissioners, Beth Sleta, has resigned. She was the secretary. The mayor is looking for somebody to take her place. In the meantime, we need to elect a secretary. And also today, I also want to make sure that we know we have two committees. One is the events committee, and usually the events committee is the major event for the events committee. Major thing we do is the annual award, the Human Rights Award, which includes nominating people and having a reception. And what other things did the events people do? I can remember. And then we have the education committee, and the major thing we do with the education committee is the essay and poster contest. And once in a while, we will sponsor, like, we did a program on bullying that will be part of the events committee. And so we sponsored another one on financial education. That, again, is part of the events committee. So I just want to make right now in my mind to know who, just for the record, who is in which committee, and have a vote for choosing a new secretary. Yeah.
Would either of you young ladies at the end be willing to
Yeah.
fill in
Wendy?
till we get another person and see if that person is willing?
Yeah. Welcome.
All right.
Wendy, would you?
Okay, I will do that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Can we nominate Wendy? or
Temporarily, right?
Commissioner
Bring
Ring.
in there? Okay.
Yeah. For secretary, Commissioner
I'm-
Wellman.
I move
Mhm.
to elect Wendy as the next secretary, the
And
present
take
one.
one note this whole time.
It's okay because you know you can get it on TV and actually I found out that I can get it from upstairs too. I can get the recording.
Okay.
So we'll work on that. Don't worry. Anybody wants to second the motion?
I'll second.
Okay. Everybody in favor? Aye. All right. So motion passes. And so right now we have events committee. We have Commissioner Wellman and Commissioner
Christensen.
Christensen.
Right.
Anybody?
Commissioner Limbo.
Limbo. Okay. And for education, we have Hank Hexo and Tom. Nap. Blank there for a minute. Wendy, do you have Commissioner Ring? I forgot your last name. Wendy, do you have a preference? Would you like?
I'd like to be on the education
Subcommittee?
please.
Great. So we are good. I don't ever know if I'm supposed to be in any committee, but I'll help with both. How's that? So
I was just gonna say that we help each other out.
Right. Yeah, we do. And I don't think we have to vote on that. That's pretty much volunteering. And I guess that's the end of the agenda. The next meeting will be October 27. Same time, same place, and unless we have any other business, we can adjourn.
I'll move to adjourn.
Second.
Everybody in favor?
Aye.
So we are done. Thank you, guys.